Hi guys, it's Rochelle. Welcome back to another video. Honey here is having a bit of a sad day because it's rainy and she can't necessarily go outside. So today I thought, because it's a bit of a rainy overcast day, it's the perfect day to talk to you about some of the books that I keep. Oh, here she goes. Scratch. Some of the books that I will be keeping on my bookshelf after I've done a declutter. They're books that I may or may not read again over my lifetime, but they certainly changed my life or had a big impact on me in some way. So I definitely want to keep them on my bookshelf just so that I can look at them and be reminded of the impact that they've had. So I thought I would go through them and just, yeah, I don't know, it's a bit of a different one today. And if you're new here, I would absolutely love it if you're subscribed. It's lovely to have you here. Okay, I've got a whole pile here. So the very first book, it's in plastic because it's all protected. It's very old. I think my dad actually, he gave it to me and I'm pretty sure he had read it, like it's quite old. It's called Go Ask Alice and it says it's by anonymous. So Go Ask Alice is a really moving book. I read it when I was about 14 and I would love to read it again. Yeah, so it says, it shows the complexity of modern life, the awful pressures that plague a 15-year-old who needs to focus her energies on coping with growing, and it shows the reality of a much discussed generation gap, the isolation of one who wanders off the track alone to find it possible to fight her way back. So she becomes really addicted to drugs and it's all about her, she writes a diary and it's all about her struggles to become clean, and ultimately she fails. So a highly, really recommended one for teenagers to read as well, I think. The next one is The Alchemist. I also read this one as a teenager. It's by Paulo Coelho. I think that's how you say his name. And it is a book about the journey of life. So if you don't know, The Alchemist is a person who can turn any metal into gold. He meets a woman and at the end he goes on this journey and then hopefully he can get back to her and they can live a happy life. But it's basically like a pilgrimage, and it shows that life is a journey and that you need to have, you know, something to work towards. Yeah, so this book actually changed me a lot because it taught me, it was kind of like my first dip into spirituality. It doesn't come naturally to me to talk about like the spirituality side of myself as much. I think it's more for myself rather than something that I necessarily share. But if you do read my blog posts tend to be or you know, my previous blog posts can be quite deep. So more recently I read The Brain's Way of Healing by Norman Doidge, and I actually went to see him speak about this book as well. And this book is really quite scientific, but it explains how you can how pliable our brains are, and it really helped me because it's so easy to play the victim and say that, you know, you are the way that you are, regardless of the things that we've experienced in our lives, that we are we have the power to make the decision to see things in a different way. Even though I don't have Alzheimer's, I don't have any chronic pain or anything like that, this book really showed me that I am able to change the way that I think and feel and the emotions that I experience, and that I am the one in control of how healthy my brain is and how I manage things that could potentially go the wrong way, like, you know, with mental health issues. Oh, here we go, is Big Magic. So Big Magic is by Elizabeth Gilbert. You probably know her from Eat, Pray, Love. And this is her book on creativity and how to get over the fears of creativity. And this book changed my life because I read it and then I started a YouTube channel. Because I let go of the idea that I need to be famous or that I need to be perfect or that I need to be something that I'm not to be creative, or also the fear of judgment and that sort of thing. So this book is really, really good because it talks about, yeah, being fearless, so creative living beyond fear. So this book really inspired me to just do it and launch my YouTube channel. This book is it's called The Course of Love by Elaine de Botton, and I read this on our honeymoon, and it's all about a different perception of relationships. So the book is, it's like a self-help book, but it's actually written in story form. So it covers the story of a couple that meet and get married. And the book basically details how you know, most love stories are like they met, they fell in love, they dated, they got married, happily ever after type stuff. But this book focuses on how the point of getting married, once you get married, that is not actually the happily ever after. That is when the story really begins. And I guess these days with, you know, a lot of people choosing not to get married, or like in our example, we got married after after 6 years together. Realistically, this could be moving in together, or, you know, is the point when things start or whatever. It doesn't have to be specifically marriage, but it's when you've made a commitment to someone in the long term, that's when the journey really starts. And it goes through all the different things that you would experience, like how each of you take it in kind of turns to have a career high, or, you know, when somebody is propositioned by someone outside of the marriage or whatever. You know, it talks about all of that stuff. You know, having children and how to navigate your relationship in that sense. So I thought it was a really good one to read on my honeymoon, and I really enjoyed it because I realized that, yes, I think a lot of us still live a little bit in, well, I know I do, a little bit like in that romantic thing of like you get married and then everything's sweet. But I've since learnt that it's not necessarily the case. You do still have to work on your relationship. Another book is Start Something That Matters. You guys know probably that I absolutely love my Tom shoes, and I have about 15 pairs of them, or I have had over the years. This guy, Blake Mycoskie, he started Tom's, and it's one of the first companies that ever did the one-for-one model. You buy a pair of shoes and he will give someone in need a pair of shoes. And they have this book is all about that, and it's all about how to build in giving and into your business. So I really loved that book because I realized that there are so many great companies to follow and support who have much more than just profit in mind. Another book is Happy Mum, Happy Baby, and this book is by Giovanna Fletcher. She is amazing. I loved this book because she talks about the real side of parenting in a perspective of you know, how much you can really enjoy it, but also she talks about her fears. She doesn't sensationalize the negative sides of parenting. She just is very pragmatic about like when the baby doesn't sleep, what to do and that sort of thing. So I really enjoyed it because I was nodding along, and it made me realize that I'm not doing anything wrong as a mum. I'm doing everything I can possibly to be the best mum, and that is the most important thing. Now, this is the most recent book that I finished. I'm not going to read the title out loud because obviously it's got a big F-bomb in it, but this one it's a lot to do with minimalism, basically. This guy, Mark Manson, has an amazing blog. This book is all about how to choose what to care about in life, basically. And he talks about, let me see, there was one thing in here that I really loved. He says, instead of trying to turn lemons into lemonade, we should learn to stomach lemons better and stop distracting ourselves from life's inevitable disappointments, like chasing stuff like money, success, and possessions. Recalibrate your values and what it means to be happy. There are only so many things you can care about, so you need to figure out what it is that really matters. So this one was brilliant because it made me realize that being a stay-at-home mum, as challenging as it is at times, is one of my highest values, and it made me okay with the decisions that I've made in my life. Finally, this is a book I haven't quite finished reading yet. I'm only about, I don't know, a chapter or two in. It's called The Awakened Family, and it's a revolution in parenting. And this is basically like a gentle parenting book. I feel like it's going to have a lot of the stuff in it that I need to read now that Max is coming up to 2 and is starting to experience things like tantrums and that sort of thing. So I'm looking really forward to reading this book and absorbing all of the tips and tricks in it. I don't read a lot of parenting books, but occasionally I do like to dip into things that are a little bit more spiritual, a little bit more aligned with the way that I want to parent, but haven't been able to kind of like conceptualize in my mind. So I'm looking forward to reading this one. Right, so those are my books. I've talked really fast. I'm at another 20-minute video, so I'm gonna have to edit this down. I might even have to chop a few of those books out. I hope you enjoyed it. I would love to know what are some of the books that you absolutely love. My battery is just starting to flash at me, so I'm gonna go. Thank you so much. If you like this video, please leave me a comment and please subscribe. I would absolutely love to have you stick around. Okay guys, big love, talk to you soon, bye.